As hard as it is to believe, even celebs haven't escaped the despair of the housing crisis. Neither can they sell or properly repair their huge properties. From homes being forgotten to a possible cult takeover, here are 20 abandoned celebrity mansions that can't sell for any price. Number 20. Nelly. Do you remember the days when we couldn't turn on the radio without a Nelly song playing? Not only are those songs long forgotten, but so is his mansion. Located in the St. Louis suburb of Wildwood, Missouri, Nelly's grand Tuscan-style mansion from the early 90s stands out. When his net worth was $40 million, he decided to make a huge splurge. In the year 2002, he bought this extravagant residence for nearly $2 million. Reports suggest that Nelly never actually intended to reside in the house. Instead, he bought it to flip it. For reasons unknown, the 10,800-square-foot mansion has remained unoccupied for the past 2 decades. Situated on a prominent 12-acre plot in Missouri, the residence boasts spectacular panoramic views from nearly every room. Its exterior exhibits a white stucco finish with castle-like turrets. Finally, in 2021, Nelly advertised his house for less than $1 million. Quickly, a buyer emerged, and the mansion was sold for $982,500. But it looks like the story isn't over yet. Turns out the buyer is the Kingdom of God Global Church, headquartered in St. Louis. Locals have even suggested that the church might be some sort of cult. Now, it remains uncertain what this mystery buyer may have in mind for Nelly's former mansion. Number 19. Britney Spears. Back in 2019, pop star Britney Spears wanted to move far away from her Thousand Oaks home. When her father, whom she famously took to court to end her conservatorship, fell ill, she packed her bags and left. Aerial photos of the property, which she purchased for $7.4 million in 2015, show that while her elaborate water features were turned off, little else had been done to take care of the property in her absence. Toys were spotted floating in the once sparkling pool, while lounger cushions were thrown around haphazardly over the terrace, baking in the heat. While Britney was reported to have a fleet of gardeners, the previously jewel-green grassed sections were slowly turning brown, despite a rainy winter in Southern California. But it's not always been in shambles. This palatial Italian-style villa boasts 13,300 square feet of space and sits on 20 sprawling acres of private land. Finally, she listed the house in 2022 and listed the mansion for $7.9 million. No buyers stepped forward, but in the meanwhile, she purchased a crazy expensive Calabasas mansion with her now ex-husband Sam Asghari, which they've already sold. Now she's planning to move back to her Thousand Oaks home, and let's hope she has people who can whip it back in shape. What a ride! Number 18. Birdman. Rapper Birdman, also known as Brian Williams, left his expansive Louisiana residence in the wake of Hurricane Katrina's devastation in 2005. Before the founder of Cash Money Records acquired the residence in 2004, it was owned by NFL star Pat Swilling. Regrettably, the house is weathering away. The 10,948-square-foot property suffered damage from the catastrophic storm, which claimed the lives of over 1,800 individuals. This New Orleans home, eerily vacant for over 15 years, is currently estimated to be worth about $650,000, taking into account that the area is easily affected by floods. Constructed in 1990, the house comprises 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Among its features are 2 hot tubs, a sauna, and a swimming pool, which now appears neglected and murky. Since then, he's had more rental losses. Birdman sold his Miami Beach mansion at a loss, fetching $10.9 million, following a series of foreclosure proceedings. He initially bought the Florida property in 2012 for $14.5 million from Rockstar Energy drink founder Russell Weiner. Let's see how long he will have the cursed Louisiana residence on his hands. Number 17. Tommy Lee. Tommy paid $5.85 million for his Calabasas mansion in 2007, but he's been attempting to sell it for the better part of a decade. He first advertised the property in 2016 for close to what he paid for it, but its demand has been on and off since then as it has struggled to find a new owner. Initially listed at an undisclosed time, the house boasted a unique architectural design, offering sweeping views over 10,000 square feet of space. With 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and distinctive features like an atrium with indoor waterfalls and a retractable glass roof, it stood as a remarkable property. The grounds included a koi pond, a stone saltwater spa, and a pool resembling a grand piano. Inside, additions ranged from a gym and home theater to a wine room and a second kitchen. After years on the market, the hillside property sold for $3.6 million at the end of the month, which was $2 million less than his asking price. And get this, the house's reputation precedes itself. One factor that may have deterred potential buyers was Tommy's wife's belief that the house was haunted. Brittany Ferlin, who married the Motley Crue rocker in 2019, shared accounts of peculiar occurrences in the home. Now, let's hope the current buyers are spared of supernatural occurrences. Number 16. Mohammed Hadid. Unlike his daughters, Gigi and Bella Hadid, Mohammed Hadid has been in the news for different reasons. His ill-fated mega mansion would have been any neighbor's nightmare. You might already know about this colossal spread. It's been making headlines for nearly a decade. This extensive estate, once perched on a hillside plot in Bel Air, Los Angeles, is a wild concept from start to finish. Construction began in 2011, and since then, Hadid's been entangled in a heated legal battle with the Los Angeles authorities. This ambitious self-built project sparked controversy due to its size and location. Initially, Mohammed intended to construct a 14,000-square-foot mansion on the lot. But by 2014, the property had expanded significantly beyond the permitted size. When local authorities discovered that Hadid's new home spanned 30,000 square feet across all floors, they decided to halt the process. So they revoked the developer's building permits and decided enough was enough. Rumors circulated that Mohammed continued construction regardless, adding a third floor and a pool deck without the necessary license. In response, the LA authorities took action, and Hadid was sentenced to 200 hours of community service for illegal construction. This project was so crazy to his neighbors that they began calling it Man's Starship Enterprise. Soon, the neighbors decided to step in and file a lawsuit against him, fearing his half-built property would fall on their heads. Let's just say Hadid couldn't have foreseen this nightmare situation. Number 15. Cher. Having acquired the property in 1989 for nearly $3 million, Cher's connection to her Malibu residence runs deep. The property includes a gatehouse functioning as a guest house, and the primary suite features a meditation room and 2 closets, one of which doubles as a panic room. Additionally, she's added an indoor-outdoor gym and a theater. Noteworthy, Cher's climate-controlled wig room housed nearly 100 hairpieces, a testament to her iconic style. The property is adorned with a tennis court and an infinity pool, all set against a backdrop of stunning Pacific Ocean vistas. Now, her lavish Malibu mansion's been relisted for $75 million, marking a $10 million reduction from its initial price of a whopping $85 million in October. This exquisite Italian Renaissance-style residence spans nearly 14,000 square feet, boasting 7 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms on a sprawling 1.73-acre plot. So, if you know someone with tons of millions, direct them to Cher, please. Number 14. Lil Wayne. Rapper Lil Wayne, the renowned rapper whose real name is Dwayne Michael Carter Jr., has had his fair share of rental troubles. He stands as one of the highest-selling artists globally, boasting over 100 million record sales. Then he decided to splurge in 2011 on an $11.6 million mansion. The sprawling 15,000-square-foot residence, which boasts distinctive features like a rooftop skate park and a shark lagoon, was initially listed in 2015 for a hefty $15 million, which was nearly double the final selling price. But no one wanted to dish out this kind of money. Even though it was an impressive glass and steel estate nestled behind towering hedges, which encompassed 9 bedrooms and 10 bathrooms, including a 2-story master suite accessible via a glass-enclosed elevator. Then he realized he had to lower his asking price even further. Finally, he successfully sold his Miami Beach waterfront mansion, known as Wayne Manor, for a sweet $10 million in 2017. Number 13. Courtney Love. Next, we head to Courtney Love's rustic retreat, The singer, film star, and widow of Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain listed her weathered 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom country retreat in Olympia, Washington state on the market in 2018 for $320,000. According to reports, the property, sitting on 7 acres of land, had fallen into disrepair and had been reclaimed by nature. In the listing description, the realtor was candid, stating that the home was a significant renovation project, requiring extensive work to restore it to a habitable state. They didn't mince words. It needed a complete overhaul and a buyer with deep pockets. But let's backtrack a bit. Love acquired the property in 1995, roughly a year after her husband's passing, but chose not to reside there for years. The former rock star purchased the country retreat for $447,000. She decided to sell the property but had a failed bid in 2011. Circle back to 2018, it's no wonder she listed the house for such a low asking price. The interior of the house was wrecked, and the walls of the 8-stall stable were full of graffiti, while bricks littered the floor. Fortunately, a buyer was eventually found and the house was off her hands. Now off the market, the estate appears to have been sold at long last and is undoubtedly undergoing a huge makeover. Number 12. Elon Musk. Elon Musk, the tech mogul and space visionary, had the home of his dreams, which was just too big for him. Built in 1912 by French nobleman Count Christian de Guigne, the estate boasted 7 bedrooms, 9.5 bathrooms, a grand living room, a library with leather-clad walls and a fireplace, a gourmet kitchen, and versatile entertainment spaces. Musk purchased the home in 2017 for somewhat more than $23 million from Christian de Guigne IV, whose family had held it for more than a century. But he became fixated on his space exploration dreams and decided a bigger family deserved to live here. He declared in 2020 that he planned to sell almost all of his possessions to support the enterprise and that he will own no house. The entrepreneur went on to sell all of his real estate portfolio, which was previously valued at more than $100 million. This involved selling 3 adjacent mansions in Los Angeles' Bel Air neighborhood, as well as an estate once owned by actor Gene Wilder. Finally, he listed Guignecourt for more than $37 million, but because no one stepped up, he had to shave off $5.5 million to make it appealing. Finally, he secured a buyer for his final residential property at nearly $32 million back in 2021. We bet his next purchase will be on Mars. Number 11. Steve Jobs. The legend himself, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, may have made hit after hit within Apple, but his real estate business was another story. He acquired the Jackling House in Woodside, California in 1984. This Spanish Revival property, designed by the renowned architect George Washington Smith and constructed in 1925 for copper mining magnate Daniel Cohen Jackling, was named after him. Jobs recognized the historical significance of the estate and paid $3.5 million for it in 1984, according to property records. But as his fame grew, Jobs couldn't keep up with the complicated demands of the house and wanted something small and quaint. He moved out, and from 2000 onward, the home sat empty. Jobs would then spend a decade trying to turn it into rubble. Eventually, he succeeded in doing so during his final year of life in the year 2011. Interestingly, before the historic estate was destroyed, photographer Jonathan Haber spent his spare time photographing abandoned properties. Thankfully, he managed to snap photos of Jobs' estate before it disappeared for good. Spanning 15,000 square feet, the house featured open-air balconies, a games room, marble bathrooms, a grand staircase, and reception rooms adorned with extravagant chandeliers. Of course, it had turned into a sad state over a decade, but was beautiful nonetheless. Number 10. Jason Derulo. Jason Derulo's love affair with his Coconut Creek mansion was a short and average one. He paid $1.75 million for the house, which was built in 2009. Derulo renovated one of the bedrooms into a mirrored dance studio and converted the estate's guest house into a recording studio, so the mansion has everything you'd expect from a pop star's home. The 7-bedroom, 9-bathroom mansion boasted over 11,500 square feet of living space on around 2.5 acres of property. Initially, he attempted to sell his residence for $2.9 million in June 2015, informing the Wall Street Journal that he had just purchased a $3.5 million castle in Tarzana, California, and planned to relocate there. But he realized he had cut down his expectations a lot to bid adieu to his mansion. Finally, in 2016, pop artist and Wiggle vocalist Jason Derulo sold his modern Coconut Creek mansion for just $1.9 million after finding a lot of wiggle space at his asking price. Number 9. Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli's childhood home was originally built in 1925 and later revamped by the renowned Hollywood Regency architect John Wolfe. It is a Spanish Revival mansion located in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. In the mid-1950s, Oscar-winning director Vincent Minnelli, following his divorce from Judy Garland, acquired the property. During her early years, their daughter Liza spent a considerable amount of time in this residence. Vincent, who became a famed director, lavishly adorned the home with numerous chandeliers, lush fabrics, and furnishings. When he passed away in 1986, leaving the house to Liza, who by then had become a major Hollywood star, the house came with one little problem. Mr. Minnelli specified that his fourth wife, Lee, should have the right to live in the house as long as she desired. This arrangement worked well until the year 2000, when Liza decided to sell the property. Lee was offered a condo as an alternative, but she chose to stay put even after the house was sold in 2002. Tensions arose between Liza and Lee, but the two finally came to an arrangement that let Lee live there till her final days. Eventually, Lee passed away in the year 2009, and with that, the house became one with history. Sadly, the home was left to decay, attracting squatters, explorers, and YouTubers too. Its grand state was now a distant memory. The ceilings were peppered with holes, wallpaper was peeling away, and shabby furniture and debris were scattered across the floors. Even today, the house looks haunted. Let's hope someone can breathe life into it soon. Number 8. Alicia Keys. When Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz acquired the New Jersey mansion from Eddie Murphy in 2013, they had to make huge renovations, including the addition of an entire wing dedicated to artwork. The sprawling compound, featuring 8 bedrooms and 14 bathrooms, boasts an indoor swimming pool, a movie theater, a gym, a 2-lane bowling alley, and a professional recording studio. To facilitate movement within the expansive space, 2 elevators were even installed. The music power couple purchased the property from Eddie Murphy in 2 separate transactions for a total of $12.1 million. They listed it for nearly $15 million in 2015, but reduced the price to just under $10 million. Then, after a painstaking 7 years, the house was sold for just $6 million. The 25,000-square-foot home had 6 bedrooms, an indoor pool, a 2-lane bowling alley, a movie theater, 2 elevators, and a cutting-edge recording studio. To think someone snagged such a great house for such a low price makes us envious. Number 7. Boris Becker. Boris Becker bought the Spanish island of Mallorca in 1997 for a reported $598,000. The German tennis ace invested heavily in the property, adding a Moroccan-style house, guest house, basketball courts, and more. But the dream house quickly turned into a nightmare. In 2004, Becker received a fine of $255,000 for unauthorized additions, and he was ordered to break them down. Then, in the year 2007, he put the property on the market for $18.4 million, but no buyer was found. The Grand Slam singles champion struggled to cover the upkeep. Weirdly enough, in 2011, Becker was sued by his gardener, to whom he owed $354,000, and a Spanish court ruled in favor of the gardener. The property was confiscated until the outstanding bill was settled. It happened again in 2014 when Becker failed to pay for building work. Becker eventually settled the invoice and reoccupied the property, only to lose it following his bankruptcy in 2017. Except, in April 2022, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in jail for concealing millions of pounds worth of assets after his bankruptcy, including a share of $1 million property in Germany. Now, his once grand Balearic Islands estate with stables, an outdoor swimming pool, and a tennis court fashioned from Wimbledon furniture sits idle. Sad but true. Number 6. Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, the acclaimed actor known for iconic roles in Top Gun and Jerry Maguire, originally acquired his Colorado estate in a private deal. The property, sprawling across 320 acres in Telluride, was specially designed for seclusion and nestled in the mountains. Cruise devoted several years to crafting the stone and cedar residence, completing it in 1994. Later on, Cruise decided to sell the estate. By 2014, he engaged a broker to market the Telluride property for an initial asking price of a whopping $59 million, although this transaction was handled discreetly. It appears that Cruise may not have been entirely prepared to part with it at the time. The main house continues to span nearly 10,000 square feet and showcases intricate wood and stone craftsmanship, including striking wood-beamed ceilings. It encompasses a chef's kitchen and expansive windows that offer sweeping views of the mountains. Alongside the main residence, the property also incorporates a 3-bedroom guest lodge. Accessed via a gated entrance at the end of a 1-mile driveway, the estate features extensive forested trails. Remarkably, despite its seclusion, the property is conveniently located near downtown Telluride. But Cruise found it in himself to part ways with it once again and listed the house for $39 million. After 2 months, the mansion was already someone else's. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. One of our subscribers shared an image of a superstar that shocked us too. While Kanye West is known for his love for all things minimal, this 3-story mansion looks anything but. He's worked hard to establish himself as a real estate magnate, but this property not only clashes with his aesthetic, but looks too big for him and his new eye candy, Bianca Sensori. He's already lost money building futuristic domes on his Calabasas ranch, and now he's desperate to sell this glass house to crawl back into Forbes' billionaires list. The selling price is sky-high too. Would you like to take a guess? The answers await. Remember to comment down below and let us know. Now on to the next topic. Number 5. Keith Richards. Keith Richards, along with his wife Patty Hansen, acquired this property in 2014 for a sum of $10.5 million. Situated on 5th Avenue and 8th Street, this 3-bedroom apartment underwent renovations in 2011 under the supervision of architect Joe Sarens. The space boasts a sprawling 47-foot living, dining, and entertainment area, featuring an open staircase adorned with a leather-wrapped bronze handrail. The master suite is thoughtfully designed, providing 2 walk-in closets meticulously tailored to display fashionable attire. Additionally, 3 private terraces offer splendid views of both the cityscape and Washington Square Park. Upon its initial listing in 2016, the residence bore a price tag of $12.23 million. In its most recent listing, the property was priced at just under $10 million. It's worth noting that the celebrated guitarist concluded the sale of the penthouse in 2018 for $9 million. After losing $1 million, at least Keith was happy to rid himself of this rental property. Number 4. Robin Williams. The late Robin Williams purchased a Mediterranean-style mansion in Tiburon, California for just a bit over $4 million in 2008. Tragically, he passed away at the age of 63 in this very house, after self-inflicting harm upon himself in the year 2014. The 6-bedroom, 6.5-bathroom estate sat on a double lot by the water. Following his death, a legal battle ensued. Williams's widow, Susan Schneider Williams, contested that she wasn't receiving adequate funds from the actor's estate to maintain the property they once shared. Williams's children, Zachary, Zelda, and Cody, expressed their disappointment at their stepmother's attempts to alter the trust, as they believed it went against their father's wishes for his estate. This dispute was eventually settled out of court in October 2015. The house was initially listed for $7.25 million, but then no buyer came forward. Sadly, the house became associated with a stigma, and people hesitated to snag the beautiful property. The mansion boasted a seamless blend of indoor and outdoor living, with direct access to the bay, a pool, and ample entertaining space. Finally, a year later, it was sold for $5.35 million. Despite suffering a loss, the family was glad to have sorted out this messy situation. Number 3. 50 Cent. In 2003, 50 Cent made the initial purchase of the property from former professional boxer Mike Tyson for $4.1 million. After a painful 12-year journey, it found its final buyer in a Florida businessman named Casey Ascar. But the journey was a painful one. He suffered an 84% price drop. Originally hitting the market in 2007 with an asking price of $18.5 million, the mansion ultimately sold for just $2.9 million. But the house was nothing short of spectacular, boasting a lavish array of amenities. It featured both indoor and outdoor pools, a hot tub for relaxation, numerous game rooms for entertainment, a state-of-the-art recording studio, and even basketball courts both indoors and outdoors. To top it off, the property boasted its nightclub, adding an extra layer of opulence. According to Jonathan Miller, a national real estate appraiser, 50 Cent's mansion took so long to sell because it's just oversized for the market, and that when you have a property that is well outside the norm, it takes a lot longer to sell. Turns out the poor guy was spending $70,000 per month on energy bills, upkeep, and other expenses for his huge home. He's just happy to say goodbye to the place. Number 2. Nick Cage. Nicolas Cage's former mansion, situated in the heart of New Orleans' Garden District, is a grand property spanning an impressive 13,000 square feet, with an unsettling history. The LaLaurie house has a dark and gruesome history that dates back to the 1800s. It was owned by socialite Madame Delphine LaLaurie and her husband, Dr. Louis LaLaurie. The house became infamous due to its poor treatment of slaves by the owners. Fast forward, and Cage acquired this magnificent residence for nearly $3.5 million in 2006, investing millions more in renovations. Notable enhancements included the installation of an Olympic-sized pool and the addition of a memorable staircase sourced from the iconic Astoria Hotel. Cage reportedly purchased the property during a period of financial strain and was compelled to part with it in 2009 to settle his debts. But even though it's stellar, it's been on the market for years at $7.8 million. The mansion's somewhat notorious history gives us one explanation for the challenges in finding a buyer. Since then, the residence changed hands multiple times, each owner struggling to secure a purchaser willing to meet the substantial asking price. Not to mention, the style and goth interior design may not align with everyone's tastes. Let's just say, it does sound haunted. Number 1. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's former estate, a sprawling 12,500 square foot mansion located in Mendham Township, was once a symbol of her immense success and lavish lifestyle. She paid $537,000 for the mansion in 1993, a year after marrying Bobby Brown and giving birth to their only child, the late Bobby Christina Brown. The late soul singer kept this house as a guest house for 17 years until selling it to the present owners for more than $900,000 in 2010. The property boasts 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a tennis court, an indoor pool, and even a recording studio where some of Houston's most iconic hits were produced. Despite its prestigious history, the mansion has struggled to find a buyer since Houston sold it. Now, a decade later, the house is ready for its next owners and demands a cool $1.6 million in purchase. Sadly, one explanation for the reluctance to purchase the estate is that Houston herself died tragically, and the house reminds people of her battles and journey. Here's to hoping someone decides to bring this sweet property to life once again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.